Hey everybody, so today I am really excited. I'm going to be doing a Stranger Things inspired set. The last season of the show is going to be premiering today and I am super excited for it. I cannot wait to see what it has in store. I definitely did not have to wait as long as some people did because I was a little late to the game. I'm somebody who, when there's a show that's really popular and everybody's watching it and talking it up in the media, I kind of protest it for a little bit, but then I hate not getting certain references and just certain inside jokes that you have to have watched the show to understand. So I end up watching them, and to be honest, I end up loving a lot of them. I did this with The Walking Dead. I did it with Euphoria. I definitely did it with some parts of Game of Thrones, although I will say that that one wasn't my ultimate favorite, but I definitely feel like I understand what people are referencing now and it makes so much more sense, and so I do appreciate watching those shows even if they weren't my favorites. But Stranger Things definitely was one that I really enjoyed. It definitely gives me like the spooky Halloween vibes. I love just like the energy of the show. I think it's really fun and just kind of spooky, which, if you don't know, Halloween is my favorite season. I was actually hoping that this was going to be coming out in time for that, but it didn't, so I'm still excited to get to watch it during the fall season when all you want to do is kind of stay inside, be cozy while it's cold and just kind of gloomy outside. So for me, this is kind of still the perfect time. But for this set, I'm keeping my actual application of the acrylic very simple. I did use my Young Nails acrylics as well as my V Beauty Pure Kolinsky acrylic brush and some PLA nail forms. These are their medium length nail forms. I will list all of the products that I use down below, but I did my nails the way that I usually do. The only difference is I usually don't build out a complete like clear or kind of like foggy clear in this case base for my nail. So in this case, I believe I used the Speed Frosted Pink. Again, all of it will be listed down below for you guys if you're curious. I just use a color that's a little more cloudy so it's easier to see while I'm doing the actual building of the platform. You can do this in clear though if you prefer, but I am trying to practice my technique of building out a clear platform for when I do colored acrylic designs and encapsulation. So that is why I did it today. It is not super necessary since I did a fully nude nail for all of these, because you really don't necessarily need to worry about building a platform to add like color and glitter and mylar and things into. But I wanted to, you know, practice the technique, test things out, and just really get some good practice in. So that is why I did that today. But as far as the actual application, it's fairly simple. I build out my platform with that kind of like foggy clear, speed clear color, and then I go in with my Cover Pink and I just build out my nail like usual. So I pretty much work from the free edge where the free edge of the nail connects to my natural nail, and then I work backwards towards the cuticle and then fill in any gaps towards the tip to make sure that that area is not super thick. I like to try to get my apex of my cuticle done first because it helps me gauge how thick I need to build up the front of the nail. You can do it the opposite way if it's easier for you, but since the thickest portion of my nail needs to be the apex area, which needs to be at that free edge area, that's why I kind of build that out first. It just helps me when shaping my nails. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish applying all of these nails. I'm doing it the same way for all of them because my design today is going to be topical all over. So I'm just worrying about getting the acrylic laid, and then I'm going to go ahead and shape them up off of camera, and I'll come back when I am ready to do the design. Once all your acrylic has been laid, I'm going in with Not Polished Teeny Bikini and Twilight Sky Gel polishes. This is one of their jelly as well as one of their cat eye polishes. And then I'm going in with the Nail Prof One Coat Gel polishes in the shades Black and White. I am starting off with the black polish and I'm applying this all over my thumb as a background. I am trying to make sure that I get this as even but as thin as I possibly can. Whenever you're using really highly pigmented gels, you just want to be mindful of how thick of a layer you are applying. The main reason is the more pigment there is in a gel, the more likely that it impacts its ability to cure. Although most brands will obviously test their products to ensure that they cure fully under the light, you still want to be careful and not apply them super thick. The other reason is this is mainly a background, so I don't want to apply too many thick layers to my nail and potentially ruin my shape. I want to try to keep it as tight as I can. Once I'm done with that, I'm going in and curing it, but I am then going in with the Not Polished Cat Eye, which is the Twilight Sky color, and I'm applying that all over that nail as well. And then I'm taking a kind of pencil shaped magnet and I'm just kind of creating random swirls in the color to just kind of create some like high and low spots of where the magnetic pieces are. And then I'm taking a liner brush and kind of dragging through that still wet polish to allow for the product to kind of pull those magnets into almost a lightning bolt shape. I do go ahead and cure that. If you will see later on when I do my pinky, I do it in kind of a different order and I will show you as I get there. But once I do have that cured, I am going in with some of that white gel polish on a thin liner brush, and I'm just kind of going over those areas where I created that kind of lightning design. I'm not going directly on top of it though. I'm kind of going off to the side slightly. This is going to create dimension and depth in the nail because it's going to make it look like they are on two separate levels, which is going to look really cool at the end. You don't want to cover up all of those magnetic particles that you pulled through on the initial cat eye coat either, so you want to try to create like two separate layers. Once I have that and that is cured, I'm going in with that Teeny Bikini shade, which is the jelly color, and I'm applying that completely over top of all of that entire design. Before I cure that though, I am going back in with some of the white polish and I am just going to kind of add in some highlights. Again, I'm not going over the entire nail like exactly where I put those previous lines. I want to create dimension, so I'm kind of doing these slightly off center so that it looks kind of like a shadow once this set is cured. So I'm going in and doing that. Once I like the way it looks, I go ahead and cure it. I am doing the same design but slightly differently on my pinky. I am starting with that black polish. I am going to cure that fully, so that step is the same. The only thing that I really messed up on this one was I accidentally cured the cat eye without pulling through those like little lightning pieces, so that I actually kind of had to do a little makeshift and try to figure out what I was going to do to get the same effect while doing it in a different technique and different order. So I did go ahead and I did my magnet like I did on the first step, which you guys can see here. I do want to keep stuff like this in my videos because I want to show you guys that you can get the same effect using different techniques. You just kind of have to play with things and figure it out as you go. So the way that I did it with this is after I cured that layer, since I realized that I forgot to pull my liner brush through it, I'm taking a little bit of that cat eye on a liner brush and I'm just kind of layering this over top in that same effect that I would have done while it was still wet. Then I also go in with that white polish and I kind of do the same thing. Again, not directly over top, not directly in the same spots, but I do kind of pull through some lines. I actually felt like this way and method was a little bit easier since I didn't have to cure every layer. I kind of was able to do it all together. So really it's a personal preference, but you can do it either way. Once I have those layers cured though, I do go in with that jelly polish like I did on the thumb. You do want to try to keep this thin because the idea is to just have it tint the lightning bolts and everything red and not actually cover up the entire design. I still go in with that white gel polish and I do the same effect, kind of slightly off center, just pulling it through in generally the same areas that I did the other lightning bolt effects, but again just slightly to the side of the ones that are already there. Once those are done, I go in with the Kiara Sky non-wipe gel top coat and I apply that over top of the entire nails just to set that into place and make sure that nothing gets stuck to it. So those nails are done and I'm going to move on to the next part of this design. The next nail is my favorite of the set. So this I am starting off doing it the same way I did the others. I'm using that nail Prof gel polish in black and I'm applying that as thin as I can to the entire nail and making sure that I give it a full cure. The other thing when you're using really intensely pigmented gel polishes, I know a lot of brands and a lot of people will do quote unquote flash cures and they'll cure the polishes for anywhere from 15 to 30 seconds and then they will go in and do final cures at the end of their design. I don't recommend that, especially when you're doing really highly pigmented gel polishes, because you can run the risk of it not fully curing. So just be mindful of that. I do cure each layer for 60 seconds when I'm using polishes like this. Once I have the black placed, I do go in with that silver cat eye and I apply that over top of the entire nail. I don't cure this one. I do go in after that with some more of that white gel polish, and on each corner of the nail, I kind of take that brush and I drag it from the corner towards the center, creating kind of like wispy smoke lightning effects. Then once I have that, I do go ahead and cure that fully and I go in to start creating my 3D design. And for this, I'm using the Kiara Sky Flex Gel. This is just a 3D clear gel. I do know that a lot of brands have different color gel versions of these. I'm a little wary of using those, mainly because I feel like the thicker the product and the thicker the pigment, the more likely you run a risk of things not curing properly, and that's always my biggest fear, because that can lead to a whole host of different problems, from your polish and your products chipping and peeling to potential allergies. So I actually prefer, if I'm doing a 3D design with gel, to use a clear gel and then just add in my color with gel polish or some other product after the fact. So I prefer to use a product that's like this versus those ones that already have color already added in. So I'm using that Flex Gel. I want to create 5 little petals. So I created kind of the same size, miniature, balls of product already on my palette so that I had them already to place. Then I placed them in the areas that I wanted my petals to be. Once they were placed, I took a silicone tool and I kind of pushed and dragged the product into the area that I wanted it to be. So I started off with the pointed part of the silicone tool facing the inner portion of what will be my demigorgon. And the reason for that is I want to pull the petal out to a point, and it's easier to kind of drag it into a point if your pointed part of your silicone tool is facing the inner portion of your flower, or in this case, your demigorgon. I do try to just work the petals into more of that pointed, wispy shape at the end by just kind of pushing in along the sides. That helps kind of taper in the pointed end of the petal. And I just kind of play with it until I have it in the space and the area that I want it to be. And once I'm happy with it, that's when I will go ahead and cure. Now, the other thing is, for this design, I am going to be adding different dimensions and different effects using my gel colors. So it doesn't have to be super perfect. You don't need every petal to be the same. You actually don't want them to be the same. You want to kind of have some little differences and nuance to it, and we'll add in our dimension with the the colors. Now I'm starting off using this red Chaun Legend polish in Ho Ho Hot, and I am using this to fill in the petals, but I'm leaving kind of a border along the edge of the petal because I'm going to go over that with the Silver Cat Eye. It's not going to be super noticeable on camera, but in person it does kind of make it so that the inner portion of the petal has that kind of bloody, like ripped skin texture, and the outer portion of the petal looks like skin, like silver skin, and it just kind of melts in with the rest of the colors that we have in the background. So it definitely is easier to see in person. I do apologize, the camera is a little hard to get these really minute details, but once I have that, I do go ahead and cure it, and then I go in with a little bit of that white gel polish on the tip of this liner brush, and I just create small mini dots all over the inside of the petal. This is going to be those little like teeth marks that you see on the inside of the Demogorgon, and I'm going to do that same thing on all of the petals. So I'm going to start off with the red. I do go in with a little bit of black actually, just so you guys are aware, because I felt like the red was a little bright and I wanted to kind of darken it up, but I didn't want to darken up the entire petal. I still wanted it to look pretty red, so I took just a tiny tinge of that black and I applied it to the center of the petal, so closest to the center of the Demogorgon, and just kind of blended it up while the red gel polish was still wet. So I faded them in before I cured it. Now, once I have all of those petals placed, I do go ahead and I work on the center, which I do basically apply that red gel into the center and then just kind of outline it again with some of that silver polish. So same method that I used on the petals, just kind of creating dimension where I need it. I do kind of play with it. When you are doing designs on nails like this that are more intricate, you do want to make sure that every so often you kind of take a step back and you look at it from afar. Sometimes when you're working on things that are super fine detailed, you kind of get lost in them because you're really up close, you're really looking at all the details, but they may not matter to the design when you're looking at it from afar. So you want to kind of take a step back, look at it, see, are the things that you're doing really making a difference? Are they showing the effect that you want them to when you look at them from far away? Because most people aren't going to be 2 inches from your nail when they see them, so you don't really always need to worry about those super fine minute details. You just want to try to do enough to give the effect that you want when people are looking at them just in your day-to-day. So just a little tip, if you do struggle with like taking a lot of time or feeling like you just really obsess over small details when you're doing nails, really just take a step back every so often. It really helps kind of change your perspective and see where you need to add certain colors, where you need to take away things, and things like that. Anytime you're doing like really up close art, you want to try to step away and kind of get a different perspective. But once I have that, I did feel like the little lightning smoky wisp things that I have in the corners just weren't given as much dimension as I wanted them to. So I did go in with some of the black gel polish and just kind of add some lines to the sides of those. Again, I don't go right over top of the white that I put in. I just kind of want to create a dimensional effect, so I do go ahead and I apply that to the side. Now, once the entire nail is done, I do go ahead with some top coat and I apply that over the entire nail. So just so you guys are aware, I do top coat over the 3D design. You just want to try to go as thin as you possibly can when you're doing it so that you don't add any bulk and you don't lose any of the dimension that you applied. Now what I'm doing is working on my pointer and my ring finger. For this, I did one layer of the Chaun Legend polish and I fully cured that. And then I went in with a second layer and I left it wet. I went in with some of that black gel polish and I will go in with some of the white as well while it's still wet before I cure. And I'm just dragging this in kind of the same motion that I did for the lightning bolt, like smoky design on the rest of the nails. This is going to create that same effect on the other nails, but it's not going to be as like subtle because I'm doing this over top of the polish and I'm not going to cover it with a jelly. So I do want to make sure that it's wet because I want it to flow and kind of blend into each other. If I just apply the lines over top, they'll be a little more separated and a little harsher, and that's not necessarily what I was going for. Once that's placed though, I do go in and I top coat it just because I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do for my stamping. so I didn't want to ruin the design if I ended up not liking it. So what I decided to do was I actually decided to put the word season and the number 5 on my nails. So I started off with the number 5, kind of place that down. When you do stamping, you want to use either a stamping polish or a very pigmented regular polish, like an air dry one. You go ahead and apply some to your stamping plate, quickly scrape off any excess, add it to your stamper. You do want to take either tape, or in my case I used a lint roller to take off any excess so that you don't add that to your nail, any little bits that might have just gotten dragged on from like designs that are surrounding the one you're looking for, and then you apply it to your nail. So once you have that place where you want it, you can go ahead and top coat it. For the middle finger, this is where I'm going to do the full word. I'm doing the same method as far as the red gel polish, the black and the white to create the smoky kind of lightning background, and then I'm going to go ahead and do my lettering. I start near my cuticle and I work my way down to the tip. The benefit of top coating after you do this step that I'm doing here with the gel polishes is that if you mess up with your stamping with any of the lettering and placement and all of that, you want to be able to just go ahead and wipe it away, which you can do if you top coat already. And you don't have to worry about the top coat interfering with like the longevity of your nail set, because you're just adding a very thin layer of stamping polish. You don't have to worry about like peeling or chipping from adding this top coat on first. So I would recommend, if you're doing a design like this, go ahead and top coat what you already have as long as you like it, and that will help you just keep that design protected for when you do your stamping. Because if you end up not liking it or wanting to change it, it's a lot easier to go back if you have kind of a layer of protection. Now I do same process for the stamping as I did on the first finger. I just go through each layer. So I just start again near the cuticle, try to get it as centered as I can, and then I just go through each layer, bringing it all the way down to the tip. Once I'm happy with how that is placed and how that's looking, I do a second top coat just to seal it all in and make sure that it's all protected and that there won't be any smudging or chipping as I wear the set. Other than that, that is it for this look. I know it was very intensive. I was really happy with how it came out. I'm sure there are designs similar to this out there, so I apologize if some of this is similar, but I wanted to do a design inspired by season 5 without actually having the chance to watch season 5 yet, because I wanted this to come out around the time that it premiered. So I do apologize for that. Maybe I'll do something that's more specifically inspired by season 5 in the future. So let me know if you would like me to do that. I did have a lot of fun with this. I don't do a whole lot of 3D designs, so it was really fun for me to get to play with that today, and I was really happy with how my little Demogorgon came out. Let me know what your thoughts are on Stranger Things. Let me know if you do watch season 5 and what your thoughts are on it. Was it worth the wait or was it not? Who's your favorite character from it? Mine definitely was Eddie. I was super like moved by his character and character arc, so I was actually really sad to see him go. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this. Subscribe to my channel down below. Check out my channel for other videos like this from me. Like this if you did and want to see more styled videos like this. And comment below letting me know what you're doing for the holiday season. I'm really intrigued to see what everybody's plans are. I know things are crazy all over the world, so I hope everybody is doing well. I hope everybody is healthy and that you're spending time with your loved ones. Other than that, I appreciate you guys watching my video, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day wherever you are. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye everybody.